Thanks for joining us, everyone. Please raise your hands if you have questions for Jazz or Natasha. We'll start with Jackie Powell.
All right. Good afternoon, both of you. So I just, I'll do a couple of questions for Natasha and then a couple at Jazz, if that's okay. So for Natasha, I know coming off of a tough loss on Saturday, can you take me through how you all were able to stay together, which was something that both Walt and Benijah expressed was oh so key in moving forward?
We've been working on it for the past couple games, staying together, and we've been working on it day in and day out, especially in practice. And when we do it in practice, it leads over into the game. So that's how we stay together the whole time.
Right, I appreciate that, and I'm curious if you've seen any film yet of how this team did against the Mystics and the Sun. I mean, or I guess you were at the games watching, but how do you believe that your game and your presence, presents another dimension to how you guys can play against these teams versus how the Liberty played them earlier this season?
Playing against the Suns, first game playing against them in 2 months, whatever, how long I was out, but we match up pretty good with Connecticut. And I think we're gonna do a really good job, doing our job early, doing what we need to do on both ends of the floor, and when we put everything together, and when we do what we need to do, we come out with the victory.
Great, thanks, Natasha. I appreciate it. And Jazz, so I want to ask the same question to you. How do you think Natasha's presence and what she can do on the floor will really help this group against the Mystics and the Sun, while earlier in the season, you weren't able to have her, you weren't able to use her?
Well, Tasha's going to be a big help. She's a big presence on our team. Like today in practice, Tasha was great. She was the most vocal person today in practice. She was talking consistently on the game plan that we got. So Tasha's going to be a big help. She's going to give Connecticut and Washington a different look than what they had to guard last time because she wasn't playing. So now they have to switch up things, of course, because now she's playing. So it'll be a good 2 games for us.
I appreciate that, Jazz. And finally, the last one for me is I'm curious for you as a second-year player, how this type of, fighting for the playoffs type vibe feels for you. How is this like some past experience, you've had in your basketball career?
This experience isn't like any other. So like, and then last year we only won 2 games. This year we won more than 2 games, and now we're fighting for a playoff spot. So each year we're making progress. And that's all we can do. All we can do is focus on what we can control, on and off the court, like taking care of our bodies, doing the things that we need to do to get ready and prepare to play a game each and every day, and then let the chips fall where they're made. If we win these 2 games and if LA wins their games and Washington wins 2 games and then loses against us, we did what we were supposed to do. So we just got to take care of things on our end. We can't worry about nobody else. We can't put hope in no other team and everything like that. We just got to do what we got to do and play New York Liberty basketball.
Thanks, Jazz. I really appreciate that. Thanks to both of you.
Jeff Magliochetti.
Thank you. Good afternoon, both of you. Thank you for joining us today. Jazz, my first question is for you. You had the right foot issue that kept you out a couple games, and you're slowly easing your way back into the lineup. How are you feeling, and do you think you'll be a full go for these final 2 contests in the regular season?
Yep, I'll be fine.
Awesome. And my other question for you, Jazz, is kind of bouncing off Jackie a little bit. As someone who was a part of that bubble team, of that 2-win team that has improved into a playoff chase this year, what has been the big difference between this year and last? And what have been the factors that have allowed you guys to leap into the playoff conversation?
We're a different team than we were last year. But in the bubble last year, we should have won more than 2 games. We should have definitely won more than 2 games, but we didn't. But this year, I knew just coming into it in training camp, having a real training camp, having to actually get to know each other outside of basketball and things like that, and not just putting a group together, taking us down there and to go play basketball. We actually had a lot of time this year to spend time with each other, know each other on and off the court. And so that's why I think our chemistry more this year was better more than it was last year, because we get to spend more time with each other. Like, I know things about Tosh. I've been knowing Tosh since I was a little kid when she played at FSU. And I didn't know much about Tosh then. Now I know a shitload about Tosh now that I didn't know. So just having a real season and having to know each other on and off the court, know each other as people first, then basketball players second. That's what's really big in our strides this year than last year.
Appreciate that so much. Thanks so much. And Tosh, my another question for you. You've had your share of big contests throughout not just your professional journey, but through your collegiate journey as well over at Florida State. So as the Liberty prepare to play standings-wise their biggest games they've had over perhaps the past 4 or 5 seasons, what sort of big game advice can you impart on these young players?
Like Jazz said, just worry about ourselves. Just worry about what we need to do, and just worry about Connecticut right now. We ain't worrying about the Mystics or nothing right now. We're worrying about this game that we have on Wednesday. And and at the end of the day, we need to make sure we focus and practice and making sure, like Jazz said, take care of our body, take care of what we need to take care of on and off the floor. And then like she said, everything else will fall into place. So right now we're just focusing on Connecticut.
Appreciate your time and insight, both of you.
Thank you both, and thanks everyone for joining. We will send the recording shortly.